Update on my Shelby Cobra. Now you can see the red in there, or pink. It's actually red Sharpie, but whatever. Got the panel gaps pretty close to where they need to be, but I went ahead and made a lip that goes all the way around the trunk. It's not pretty. It'll look a lot better once it's primered, but you see I used one piece, glued it in, it was solid. There's the piece I cut out. There's the one for the hood, which I'm about to show. Doesn't interfere with the back part of the chassis at all, so that's pretty cool. I just used really thin styrene sheet, that way I could fold it in to that contour, and I'll turn it around, dump the hood off. I did the same to the front, but I made the ring wider than the trunk. You see how I did that. It's just one sheet super glued in. Technically I used the tester's liquid glue first, and then I went around it with super glue because for some reason the tester's glue wasn't holding it up all the way, so went around it with CA glue, which you can see it's shiny in spots, and then I trimmed off the excess after I glued it down with the CA glue, super glue, all the way around it. Well, I trimmed the sides, and then I used that, sanded it, and then I glued it again. The rear inside has not been sanded. It's only been glued. But I also had to bend, I had to push this out because the trunk wasn't lining up properly. And then after I did that, I drilled these holes out right here, and if you look, they were already crooked. This one's out a little further, but let me set my little block up here. Phone stand, the amazing steel block phone stand. So move my roll bar and get my tweezers. It's 4 pieces of styrene. I made a little front bumper jack things, whatever they are. I always call them bumperettes, but made both of those, and then went back to sanding on the ring insert area, because I had to build up in there with super glue, and you can see it is filled in very, very well. Ignore the pencil marks. I traced all the way around it so I'd know exactly where I wanted to sand to. But the panel gaps on the hood are nearly perfect compared to what it was. It's awesome. So that corner right there is a little gapped, but the rest is pretty much exactly where it needs to be. And I'm sure I could scoot the hood forward some more, because it is raised a little right here, but I think that's because the cowl is bent down. This is a really old model, and it's been sanded a lot through here, So I think either between me taking material off and the fact that it's this body was pretty misshapen in several areas, I'm probably just going to leave that. I'm building this one as basically a race version, so I'm not really going to worry about the panel gaps too much more. I don't have the entire kit, so I'm having to make a lot of this stuff for it out of styrene, and like the windshield frame I used aluminum soda can bottom reshaped. I love it when I drop my phone. This time at least it didn't hit the floor. Ninja hand. Anyway, the doors are going to be my next. I did work this corner a little better to where it fits nicely, but that's going to be my next thing, is working on the door gaps, and then I'll start working on hinges and stuff. The door gaps are actually very good already. I do have a little bit of a plan of what I'm saying I'm going to be working on the doors. I'm going to try and thin this and make a little lip on the bottom of this, because the original Shelby Cobra doors were like that. Haven't decided if I'm going to which one of these Cobra emblems I'm going to use, if I even use them. The mold came out okay, but the castings, just lack of detail because of the paint on the badge that I molded, the one on the front. So, but that's it. I haven't done anything else to the chassis or anything yet. I haven't even started working on this chassis. It's all been body work and, well, the exhaust and roll bar, bumperettes. Other than that, it's all been body work, body work, body work. So, at this point, super glue, CA glue, has turned into the filler in the gap around the trunk sills that I just made. There's not going to be any more liquid plastic in that, or sprue goo. Pretty much done with that stuff for now. The trunk lid, lower part, I did have to put a styrene strip down here all the way across the bottom. You can see the line. That's a strip of styrene I had to put in there to fill it in at the bottom. The lower corners are off quite a bit, and I might use little snippets of styrene to fix that, or maybe even milliput. Also, because of the hood having this ring, which would simulate like a gasket, I guess, I don't know. Because of that being on there, and that's lined up perfectly, well, not perfect, but you know, lined up with the hood ring that I made, seal on the trunk. I thinned, let me get it to focus. Come on now. It's not pretty, but you can see I'm working on thinning, putting a groove all the way around it, and the trunk will sit right in there. But that'll pretty much lock in. And I'm sorry, guys, I paused it. My daughter had to say something to me. But here you can see where I bent the body to match the trunk. The curve in here was gone. It was basically straight. So I pulled it back out while the glue was still kind of sticky, and just kept re-arching it, just pushing it out with my thumbnail, literally. Just did that a few times here and there in the last few hours, and it has pretty much corrected that line. Let's see, so probably a lot more. I mean, I know it's an original edition of this model, first edition, whatever, but it's probably a lot more work than this car is actually worth. I only paid $8 for this, and it came with a spare chassis, so it just needed a lot of TLC, a lot of work. Oh, also leveled the headlight plane, I guess you would say, to make sure they're nice and level, even. They were crooked and weird. The body seam lines, they're all gone. Where the molds make those little lines on the outside, they're all gone, other than that little spot right there. And I'm just going to leave that because it's filled with paint and it won't be noticeable. Other than that, there are no more on the body. There's not really much left I can do as far as repairs with sprue goo. Everything's smoothed off, so I'm pretty satisfied with it as far as that's concerned. I think now the only thing is going to the doors, putting some little sills in there, and then starting on working on the interior and chassis. I'll probably save the engine, and yeah, I'll save the engine for last. I thought about doing some aftermarket stuff. I still might, I don't know. I need to get more paint stripper, to get all this paint off of it before I start going to town on it, because I'm really debating on cutting the sides out of the chassis, out of the interior bucket, like I was saying, and replacing all of this with thin styrene because of how thick these side panels are. Because I'm going to do a full race version with this car. I'm not going to use the stock door panels and that I cut out there. I just feel like this side pieces are too thick. So I'm going to leave one stock seat in it, I think, and leave the other one out because race version. Need to find a fire extinguisher and some other stuff. But yeah, that's it. I don't really have much more to say. I hope you enjoy watching my weird videos and me doing all this stuff. And you know, it's kind of a learning process. I've worked on models for most of my life. Nothing fancy really, and I like making things out of styrene for them and fixing things as best as I can. My eyes aren't perfect anymore. I'm getting kind of old, but they're not bad. I do all this without magnifying glasses, and if it's getting really bad, then I check out details with my phone, look at the video, and go back to it. But I usually don't need to. I know this is a rough model though, and I added a few scratches myself, but it was mostly just a rough model when I got it. So A little bit of a low spot here and here still. I think I'm just going to leave them because, like I said, this is supposed to be a race car, and it's got to have a little, issues here and there. I thought about leaving the trunk ledge at the bottom, these corners,